This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Join me for my new radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk inspiration and prayer every Monday from 11 to 11:45 a.m. on KWWJ 1360 a.m., 96.9 FM, or KYOK 1140 a.m. Call me 832-570-8075. See you then. All right, Houston, let this play a little bit there, Mr. Producer. You have me, Gilbert Garcia, a tip from Gilbert, talk inspiration and prayer. We are here, as you know, every Monday from 11. And I have news for you. Not only are we now KWWJ and KYOK, but we are now from 11 to 12. One of those things, my studio audience is clapping. I appreciate that. I think it's because we want to make sure you callers keep calling in. This show is your show, and that's the way we're going to be able to grow this audience and really do a good service to the community. If you've got something to say about your church, your Little League team, you're running for office, and you got something to say to Houston, just call in. Share it. 832-570-8075. Because at the end of the day, people want to start hearing good stuff on the news. They don't want to keep hearing all this negativity. And that's the whole point. So I thought I'd do something different, and I'd say, live from downtown Houston, it's Chef Willie. So, Chef, please say hello to Houston.
Hello, Houston. Welcome. Thank y'all for having me. Thank you for having me as well.
Well, Chef Willie, you are an icon in Houston. We're going to talk about that, but I have to get to a caller because she waited, I don't know, probably 30, 45 minutes last time, and I apologize to her. So let me welcome one of our newly elected state reps, a great friend of mine, and of course she was an incredible council member, Jolanda Jones. Are you there, Joe?
Hey, Gilbert.
Joe, first, let me just tell you, how's it feel now to be a state rep?
So, technically, Gilbert, I'm newly re-elected.
Newly re-elected.
I actually got elected I got sworn in on May 18th. I won on May 7th. And then I got re-elected on May 24th. So that's got to be like the world's record for an election and then a re-election. But it feels great for the campaign to be over.
Are you just like relieved? Are you like, oh God, I've been working so hard? I mean, you've been like everywhere. I think there's three of you, Joe. There's three Jolanda Joneses out there in the universe because you're everywhere. And I think that's great because that just shows you how hard working you'll be for your district.
So you're right. This was like the campaign from hell. It seemed like it would never end. I mean, we didn't realize that Representative Coleman was going to retire in February of this year, so we didn't know that there was going to be a special election. And then we were hoping to win without a runoff, but there were 7 people in the race, and it was just too hard to get 50% with that many people. So I worked out this morning, which is weird because I normally am pretty good about working out. And once I started running, I concentrate 100% on the task at hand. So I did not have time to work out. So today was my first day working out, and I am so pathetically out of shape. It makes no sense. A workout that normally took me 30 minutes took me like an hour and 15 minutes. But I got through it. Some sense of normalcy. And I'm hoping that the governor calls a special session, although I don't think that he will, so that we can, at a minimum, try to get some reasonable gun reform, common sense gun reform. But I don't think he's going to do it, even though he did call a special election to abrogate our voting rights, to make it impossible for people to be able to get abortions, after 6 weeks. So it's craziness that he thought it important enough to regulate our body and to regulate our abilities to vote, but doesn't want to regulate who can own a gun and when.
Well, let me interject something real quick, Joe. And that is, I found it very interesting. I was doing a little bit of research, and I was surprised how little research there is on guns and their impact on society. There's not a lot of research on that. It's almost as if they're not really coming forth with data. So one of the things as someone that's a data-driven person and looks for solutions that are data-driven, I think one thing we got to do is get all the data. Who owns the guns? Where do they own them? And what's happening so we can really make good decisions. But the other thing that is indisputable, Joe, is number one, where there are more guns, there are more gun killings. That is indisputable evidence. That's number one. Number two, where there are rapid fire shootings, whether it's lots of magazines or automatic weapons, there are more gun killings. That is indisputable type evidence. So it seems to me, Joe, that hopefully you'll go up there and you'll just say, let's get some data, let's look at this, and let's get best practices of other states and best practices of other nations.
So I'm a data-driven person as well, but the only data I need to know is if fools can't get AR-15s, then they can't kill a whole bunch of people.
That's right. There you go.
So let me say this. I believe it was in Sweden when they had that mass shooting, and I can't remember how many people died. Well, they immediately outlawed all these guns, and they hadn't had a mass shooting since. So I don't need to go do research on, at least not to pass laws. First of all, when somebody is 18, you don't even have a criminal record. If you did stuff when you were a kid, people can't look it up because your records are protected when you are a minor. So at a minimum, we need to make you not be able to buy a gun until you're 21 so we can look to see what kind of issues you have. One. Two, we don't need military grade weapons for regular people. They're military grade for a reason because the military uses them. And this notion that, we're going to arm teachers and do all this stuff. Come on, man. These police officers in Uvalde, they were afraid to go in with the dude who had the automatic weapon. So you want teachers to do what police were afraid to do? I mean, that's just stupid.
Well, I know one thing. You better give them hazard pay for crying out loud, yes. Joe. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
You can't. So first of all we need is scared people with guns. And again, police officers are trained to deal with people with guns. They know how to shoot. They have to shoot every year and get their shooting renewed. Otherwise, they can't be peace officers. They have special training. So the fact that you're just asking a teacher, I mean, teachers are already struggling with how much they get paid and trying to educate our kids. Now you want them to be the police too? That's craziness.
That's craziness. Well, Joe, I've got a guest here, so let me just ask you real quick. Let me give you the last word. What do you want to say, Houston, right now?
I want to say thank you to everyone who voted for me. And even the people that didn't vote for me, I want to thank you for participating in the process. Because democracy doesn't work if people don't vote. But at the end of the day, the people chose me. I'm super thankful for that. There were 3 elections. I won 3 times, so I'm 3-0. And other people are 0-3. And I say that to say this. I'm going to work hard for the people that voted for me. I'm going to work hard for the people who didn't vote for me so that they know that I'm going to fight for them anyway, because that's what happens when you get elected. You represent everyone. So I'm representing Republicans, Democrats, rich, poor, or indifferent, every single solitary color that is a constituent of House District 147. And I'm just so honored to get to work. I wish that I had a special session to go to, because you know how they say if you build it, they will come?
Yes.
If he calls it, I will be there.
Amen.
But thank you so much, and I'm ready to work.
Thank you, Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Yolanda Jones, right? She's She's always working hard for the community. That's just awesome. But I have Chef Willie here. So, Chef, just let me ask you something. First of all, when you were young, did you just say to yourself, you know what? I think I'm going to be a chef. I mean, how does one say, you know what? I just love food.
You know, that was the underlining of it all. I did genuinely love food. But did I grow up saying I was going to be a chef? I did not, actually. My love for food as far as professionally came in college. But before that, growing up, very different, very interesting childhood. Not your common childhood, you know. Growing up in the south side of Houston, was adopted by my grandparents within the family. Birth mom, birth dad never met, you know, dad at least. You know, so my childhood was very interesting, as I can say it right now, in my adult life. But growing through all of that, I think it gave me tough skin, you know, from all of the things that I witnessed as a kid growing up. But I'm very grateful for everything what I've been through as a kid, because I think it led to the person I've become today.
So your grandmother raised you, or your grandparents?
Great aunt, actually.
Great aunt.
Great aunt raised me.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. So, did she inspire you to just like think differently and think big? And because, you know, when you think about growing up, you know, I just don't think chef is one of those things people say, you know, everybody wants to be a fireman, or everybody wants to be a police officer, or everybody wants to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Right.
But people don't realize, number one, being a chef is an extraordinary skill.
Absolutely.
And it really is, you're like an artist.
You are.
You're an artist.
You are.
And then it's also, it can be very lucrative. And of course, running your own business, you know, being the right word, the head chef at a restaurant, or even having your own restaurant. So let me ask you this. So when did the light bulb go off in you that said, I'm going to be a chef?
Literally, it went off for me, like I told you, in college. But one thing that you just mentioned right now was, where did it come from as the beginning? My great aunt, she was the baker in the family. And my grandfather, my great grand uncle, he owned a nightclub. So hospitality was in his blood. So hospitality have always been deep down inside. Because, you know, at the end of the day, your children basically are representing of the parents in a small sense. So being the baker and him having this love for hospitality and people, I think that's what developed my love for restaurants. And so I originally went to college to study restaurant management.
So you're educated in restaurant management?
Correct. I studied at Stephen F. Austin State University. And in there, about 3.5 years into it, I did an internship at Chenal Country Club in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I got to witness like so many amazing people, including cooking for Bill Clinton. But it was there.
Now, I thought all he ate was French fries.
Listen.
I thought Bill Clinton just eats French fries and you know, McDonald's. Is that not true?
You know, I would not confirm nor deny that story. Okay. What happens in their kitchen stays there.
There you go. You know, that's a good one. What goes on in the kitchen stays in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
I now know that. Okay, go.
You know, and so that experience, it made me realize I wanted to learn more about the kitchen itself. So when I returned back to SFA for my final year there, I took a mentor. And her name was Rosa. Literally, I used to call her Tia Rosa. She worked at the cafeteria at the university, and she would take me in there and teach me how to make like small cakes. And it was from there I just was immediately hooked. And so right after I finished my 4 year, I went straight to Culinary School, Le Cordon Bleu in Austin, Texas.
Wow.
Yes. And most people go down the
that's great.
Thank you. Most people go the savory route. Like most chefs, 90% of chefs, you think of the savory route. For me, I wanted to do something different. I was the only black guy in my baking class. It was nothing but ladies, which was not a bad interaction. You know, I had a great time hanging out with everyone. Don't get me wrong, but literally going into this baking program as a male, as a black, it was just so like left field.
Very
but I wanted to do something completely different, and I felt learning pastries opened me up to more of a creative freedom.
Now, what does that mean, savory? When you say they do more savory things,
right?
What's
So
that mean?
Savory is like your actual your hot and cold cooked foods. The pastries are the other program, which is the pastry program that I entered. Is literally just your desserts, homemade breads, chocolatiers, sugar work, things like that.
I see. I want to go back into this concept of being an African American in this chef industry, which is predominantly white males.
Right, correct.
I want to talk about that in a second, but I want to take another caller. We have a Kathy Gunter. Kathy, are you there?
I am.
Kathy, I was the other day eating with some seniors and visiting with seniors, and Kathy was there with me.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So Kathy, talk to us. What's going on? And tell us about. Aren't you running for something?
I am running for a position. First of all, I'm a retired educator, so I couldn't just stop there. I had to get in a race. I'm in a runoff right now for the Houston Community College position for trustee for District 2.
Well, let me ask you this: when you were a teacher, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was.
And so now you're running for HCC, and do you know how many students are at HCC? Do you know offhand?
Well, the enrollment for the overall enrollment, we had about 20,000 students overall. More importantly, in my new district, where I have the Norfolk campus, it was only a little less than a little over 400 students. It's at that particular campus, and I'm fighting to keep that campus open, getting more programs there. We don't want it to close.
Right. No, we can't close those. We got to do everything we
Yes.
can to have people an avenue to get better educated and to move on and grow and all those sorts of things. Let me ask you this: do you know how many students at HCC are people of color? Do you have any idea? It's got to be the majority, right?
Oh, yes, because, most of the kids that cannot afford a four-year college will attend a place like Houston Community College. It's more affordable, and then it's in the community, so it should be more accessible. Now, I don't know if I mentioned to you, did I tell you that I taught in the prison?
No. Tell me about that.
Oh my God.
I had the opportunity to work in the prison school district called Wyndham. They're all over the state of Texas, and Texas Department of Criminal Justice have the school system that's set up for guys to complete their GED in prison or to take a trade. So therefore, when they get out, they can actually go to work within that trade. That's the goal. And so I was able to do that with the mail facility. I worked there for 5 years. I had a really great experience. I was scared to death when I went inside of the prison. I thought I didn't know what to expect. But it turns out it was one of the best experiences of my life. I was able to help these guys learn how to do copper cabling, fiber optic cabling, telecommunications, where they can go behind the computer and fix, if there's a disconnect, they can test it and fix it and repair it.
That is amazing.
So this was great for them, and it didn't take but 6 weeks. They were certified. They can get an entry-level position. Mm-hmm.
I think that's wonderful because these people are our sons, they're our daughters, they're our fathers. I mean, they're people, and at the end of the day, if we don't do something to get them a skill, then they're going to come out and come into society, and they're going to have nowhere to turn, and then more trouble happens. So I think getting them integrated into society with jobs to be productive citizens is the way to go. So I congratulate you for that. Let me give you the last word, and I want to make sure you say, where's your website? And, if there's a number of people want to learn more about the campaign, what do they call? Just give us all that here before we sign off with you.
Okay, I want to let them know that today is early voting. So early voting started today, and it's going to go through June the 14th, and Election Day is going to be on June the 18th. But they can go to www.voteforkathygunter.com. That is my website, and they can see everything on there about me that they want to know. And also, they can email me at Kathy Gunter. I'm sorry, vote for Kathy. I got to get this right.
Don't you worry.
HCC.
Don't you worry.
At gmail.com.
Well, Miss Kathy, I so appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for doing the Lord's work, helping those folks in the prison and working with young people. I think that's wonderful. So, Houston, you got all the information there. I hope you consider Miss Jackie. She's working hard for the community. I've seen her out and about. Let's come back to Chef.
Right. Chef is okay as well.
The big cheese.
Yes.
Chef Willie. So, go back. So, you mentioned something interesting that I think our audience would care to know, which is, so you're an African-American, and it's predominantly, is this correct, predominantly a white male-dominated
Absolutely.
field. So do you ever feel, do people ever make you feel, I don't know the right word, like not good enough? Or do you ever get any of that pushback and BS and things that just frustrate you and say, I just want to be treated like any other chef?
I have to be honest. And because it's so true. Like, first off, while I was in school, I used to always say, I want to be the white Bobby Flay. Why would I have to say the white Bobby Flay? That never registered to me, right? Until I actually got into the industry more hands-on and things like that, because as a chef, it's not about your race. Thank God I love my industry. It's about your skill set, the talent that you bring to the table. Are you fast in this kitchen or are you not? Your resume, we don't even want to look at it. Let me see you in your experience, and let me see you in this kitchen, in the gut, on the line, And luckily, so for me, I've always risen to the top of whatever field I was in. I started my career in Florida. I was the only black guy in almost every restaurant that I worked at.
No kidding.
No, literally. And I slowly rose to the top. And every restaurant job that I took, I was a little bit higher and a little bit higher. I literally started off as a line pastry cook, and I rose by the time I was leaving Florida, I arrived in 2011, and by the time I was leaving in 2015, I was one of the top sous chefs of the city and pastry chefs of the city. I was nominated 2014 for one of my deconstructed tiramisus, and it won Best Dessert of the City. And in 2015, I was nominated for Best New Chef of the City as well.
No kidding.
So for Best of the Bay, by the way, that's what it was called, Best of the Bay. And so, as far as the race world, it didn't affect my career per se, but there was never anyone that looked like me that I related to or could it be inspired by. Like I said, literally my goal was to be the black Bobby Flay.
Well, let me ask you, what's a sous chef? I've heard that term. I'm a sous chef. What does that mean?
So the sous chef is like the second in command, the second in charge.
Like Mr. Spock?
Right.
Like the Mr. Spock of the kitchen.
I'm the Robin to your Batman.
I'm the Robin to your Batman.
Absolutely. So that is your sous chef. He has your back. He's your right-hand guy. And then there's your pastry chef of the kitchen as well, right? Your pastry chef is the one that's writing all the desserts, handling that entire portion, because depending on how big or small your restaurant is, that could be a huge factor as well.
Now, all I know is this: if I were a chef and I was the pastry chef, I think I would just be eating all my damn pastries, and no telling how big I would be.
No,
is that not the case?
It is the case.
Because don't you have to sample it all yourself to make sure it's good?
It's a requirement.
Is it a requirement?
It is a requirement to taste test your food. It is a requirement, And then I'm in pastries. Everything has sugar in it, and I use all the fats I could find. Okay, there's gluten-free, non-plant. I could totally do those as well. Don't get me wrong, but listen, I love the gooey, buttery, sugar. I love a good old-fashioned dessert. So, but as far as a healthy tip, believe it or not, I was way bigger. And learning about pastries actually helped me learn about sugar, and learning the proper way of balancing food actually helped me lose weight. Like in college, I was pushing 300 at one point.
Yeah, but you're a tall man, so that's not like...
No, but 300 is still a big guy.
Okay, but you're a strong big man.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll take that.
Well, there you go. Well, let's go back to something. So then you moved here. And do you have your own restaurant?
Well, when I came to Houston, I made a pit stop in New Hampshire, worked at a kids summer camp. But then right after that, I came to Houston. And, the saying is true. Every time you go to a new city, you're starting all the way over again. And so I left Florida at the top of the city, and then I come to Houston. I'm literally the small fish in a big pond again. Yep. And so I had to rise all over. And so I started working for a local catering company, one of my closest friends at the time. And then I just transitioned from working for her company to starting my own. But it was a very, very slow process, super slow process, meaning, how do I do it? I tried to get a loan, immediately denied. So what did I do? What could I have done? So I thought of a different option. I would, to literally start my business in 2016, I took a job serving tables. So I stepped back in the hospitality world. I was the head of restaurants. Now I'm just serving at them. And I took the money from the tips, and I would invest that into my own stuff. And so I serve tables right over at your house in City Center, right? Which is ironically where my offices are located now, you guys. Keep that in mind. But I started right there in City Center, and I would serve tables. I would take the money from serving, and I would invest into my desserts. And then I would make desserts and then bring them back to the restaurant, and then have the employees and the guests that came in, and everybody would try it and sample it and give me their opinion. And literally it started I did that for a year and a half, and I started selling cheesecakes out the back of the restaurant.
Come on.
No, literally. And then so that grew, and then one day someone asked me, can you teach me how to make it? And I turned that into a whole thing. And I started doing cooking classes.
Wow.
So I was serving and being a full-time chef on the side.
I had this image of you pulling up in a big big van. And psst, psst, come here, buddy. Psst, psst. I've got some cheesecakes. I've got some
That
cheesecakes.
was me for the longest.
And you're looking around and you're in the dark, and I got some cheesecakes for you right here if you want the cheesecake.
No, it was horrible. I could easily lost my job. Like, it was so horrible. Like, I would literally, like, they would say, "Can we see dessert menu?" I'd be like, "Man, I got a slice of cheesecake right here. If you want some, try my cheesecake." And so literally, I would like do what I could to get my name out there, and it worked. In that one moment, yes, it worked out really well. To like, I started doing cooking classes, and I had like a little kitchen I rented in Third Ward at the time, and so I would drive all over the city to host these small classes, and then go back and serve tables to get more money.
Well, let me ask you this. So this isn't a pitch for your business, but it might be. Which is okay. So my wife and I, we're like, busy people somehow. I don't know how. I mean, you think about the old days when they would work with candlelight and they would sit there by the fire and read. Well, we don't have any time for that anymore.
Right.
And it takes like 2 people to work to keep the whole house going and this and that. We don't have time to cook.
Yes.
And so, oh my God, the worst thing ever was Uber Eats. So now all I'm doing is eating poorly, and I'm just eating all kinds of Uber Eats, and I'm wearing Uber Eats right now.
Right.
And so, do you do for someone like me and my wife, we're professional, and we're like, we just got to eat better. We got to get away from whatever it is that's processed food or whatever that word is, and we got to eat more healthy. And so do we come to someone like you to say,
Absolutely.
Help us?
Yes, someone exactly like
So
me.
what do you do?
So now, so we're going to skip a whole chunk, but currently, right now, I'm a private chef in the whole city, right, or actually the whole state of Texas. I work on nutritional dining, as well as fun traditional meals also. And all of this is a part of my program called the Ready Made program by Chef Willie Holmes. And literally, it's give you your access to your own private chef without the mess, if that makes sense. Like, no one's coming to your house anymore to actually physically cook all of that, dirty up your kitchen, make a mess, and then try to clean it and things like that for hours. We cook it in our off-site kitchen, but then we deliver it. We cook it to your exact meals, your exact diet specifications. It literally
is it like frozen, or
no, and it's all fresh meals, never frozen.
So I just have it in my fridge, those little
that's
pill.
literally almost what it is.
Those pill things.
Yes.
When people, it's got Monday, Tuesday for all their pills. Is there there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in my fridge?
Absolutely. Well, up to 3 days.
Up to 3 days.
And then we do your second delivery of the week, and then we'll do your third delivery of the week, depending on how many week or meals you have.
And can I tell you, I'd like chicken this day, I'd like barbecue this day, I'd like fish this day.
Absolutely.
Can I do that?
That's literally what my clients do. They tell me what they're craving, they tell me what their kids are craving, and then I create 100% menus for you based off your cravings and your dietary
Holy
restrictions.
cow. Well, what's your number? Tell everybody your number.
Listen, folks, call me directly. I always say that.
Yeah.
I'm a private chef. Just call me straight up, 281-455-7891. Everyone
I'm
can
write
reach
that
me.
down.
Listen, please.
Hold on a second.
Look, let me tell you again.
281.
That's 455 7891.
7891.
Right, and this is it's perfect for the on-the-go moms.
See, I haven't done this before.
Big families.
I haven't done this before, so I don't know. Let's studio audience. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try Chef Willie right now, and let's see what he says to me. He's going to say, "This is Chef Willie." Okay,
Listen, are you calling me directly?
I don't know. Let's see.
I love this.
Let's see what happens here. Hold on. Can you ready?
Yes, like Chef Willie Holmes. How may I help you?
I'm looking for. Is this Chef Willie Holmes?
This is directly.
I am looking for. I don't want any dirt. I don't want any mess in my kitchen. I don't want to clean up anything. I just want to write a check to pay for it, and I just want to eat good food. Can you help me with that?
You know I can. Absolutely I can. All I need to know is what is your dietary restrictions, what are you looking for this week, and what are you craving? Any allergies? These questions, after that, we're good to go.
We are on.
Let's do it.
We are on. That just worked for me. We do have another caller here very quickly, and I want to come back to the concept of, number one, I want to get to your contest.
Yes.
And then I want to go back to the meal I had at your restaurant.
Thank you.
But we have Muhammad. Muhammad, are you there? Muhammad from Acres Home.
Yes.
Muhammad,
Yes,
how
I'm
are
here.
you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Tell us again, what's going on in Acres Home? And you're part of is it the Acres Home Chamber of Commerce, or tell me again?
It's the Acres Home Chamber for Business and Economic Development.
So how many businesses are in the whole Acres Home area, would you say, Muhammad?
Well, we don't have a good count right now. it's not what it should be.
Understood. Well, what sorts of things are y'all trying to promote to expand small businesses there?
We're promoting education, training, and some certifications. We have an alliance with Lone Star College, NOAA. They have a workforce program which offers all of the trades, welding, construction, HVAC, and a number of trades. I think they're about to add electrical. And we have a collaboration with them so that we will wrap around their trade program. We're going to wrap around educational development in terms of how to set up business, how to go into business for yourself to become entrepreneurs. Of course, it's fine to look for jobs, but we're also trying to develop our people to have the skill set to go into business for themselves.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
That's beautiful.
That is awesome.
We're be doing.
We need more small businesses, and we need small businesses in the hands of people of color. When you look at the city of Houston, roughly, I think the number is something big, like 65% are Hispanic and African American, and yet we don't have enough Hispanic and African American small businesses, and we've got to get them, and we've got to support them. So amen to you. Tell us what's going on with Juneteenth.
Okay, and I have my event coordinator here with me, Elijah, and he's going to chime in.
Go ahead. Let's have him. What's his name?
I just want them to meet you and know who you are. Yeah.
What's his name again? I'm sorry.
Good morning. My name is Elijah Fitzgerald.
Elijah, speak to us.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm just here on the call. I was just chiming in to get my name and also support as well.
Wonderful.
because-
Well, Elijah, do you know what y'all are planning for Juneteenth?
Yes, sir. So we have a cultural arts festival that we'll be having on Saturday, June the 18th from 12 to 6. And so we say cultural arts because it's going to have so many different forms of entertainment. We'll have poetry. We'll have a live band. We'll have other forms of entertainment that I don't necessarily want to give away because I want to make some things a surprise.
Awesome.
And so,
And where's it going to be? Like, where exactly is it?
It's going to be at the Chamber ground, 6112 Wheatley Street, which is the location of the Acres Home Chamber, and we've got about a 4-acre footprint there, plenty of land, parking. We're going to have a wonderful stage with a digital background. We'll have food trucks, vending opportunities, sponsorship opportunities. It's going to be really, really nice.
Fantastic. And let me ask you this. When you look back at Juneteenth, you know, why did it take so long for the message to come here? Think of all those people that were enslaved and all the terribleness that went on for whatever it was, a couple more years. Any thoughts about that?
Yes, I've participated in Juneteenth celebrations literally for my whole life. But in my younger days, and it was like a unnoticed, like a private holiday among black people that other people didn't know about. But we would always have celebrations at the local park and have Little League baseball games. And everybody would have the barbecue pits out, and people would literally just take off work most times without even any permission, or they'd come after they'd get off, and we'd have a big celebration. It's largely through the efforts of State Representative Al Edwards, who popularized it and took it to the mainstream and eventually got official recognition of it. But it's been a long-standing holiday in the black community where we celebrated getting the news, although being late, getting the news that emancipation had come. So it was a very festive time for us.
Wonderful.
We're happy that the public at large and people now can know and appreciate what we went through and join in on the celebration with us.
Well, I'd like you to do this, Muhammad, if you don't mind. This is Muhammad back, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like you to call in, you know, the next Monday up until Juneteenth, the celebration, just so we can get the word out about this so people know about it, if you don't mind. And if you don't call in, I'll try to make sure I mention something. But I think we want a good turnout, and we want to celebrate something very, very important in history. So, Muhammad, I'm going to give you the last word. Anything else you got for me?
I want to invite everyone out, and even though this originated as a holiday for black people, we want to invite the whole diverse community Acres Home, as you know, is changing demographically. It's a diverse community, large Hispanic population, and people of other ethnicities. So we want everyone to come out so that we can get to know each other and people can get to know more about the legacy and the history of Acres Home.
Amen. Muhammad, thank you. And Elijah, thank you for tuning in. You're here with a Tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday, KWWJ, KYOK. And we're here live from downtown Houston. I want to say live from New York. It's Saturday Night Live. I really want to say that somehow, but I can't quite say it. So I'll just say live from downtown Houston. It's Chef Willie. So,
Yes.
so Chef, let me go back to you for a second. So you had me at your, is it a restaurant? Would you call that a restaurant? It's a restaurant to me.
But for private dining.
Is that what it is? It's
That's
private
what I
dining?
created. Absolutely. So being inspired from working in that city area for so long, of course, naturally, my mindset was to find something there.
Right.
I met an amazing person who introduced me to that company, Spaces, and they had an amazing storefront, essentially is what they have there. And they gave me the beautiful opportunity to be the exclusive chef of that office space, which is amazing. And so what I like to do is a lot of private dining, one-on-one dining with just the chef and your guests.
I like
Simple
it
as
because
that.
it's nice, it's clean.
Thank you.
It's quiet.
Yes.
It's kind of hip. It's kind of
very-
modern.
Yes.
And
We're up on that 5th floor. You
Yep.
enter on the red carpet. You overlook all of the city, right over the greens.
give us the address so people know.
Absolutely. So literally, I'm located right in the heart of City Center, 800 Town and Country, Suite 500. Literally, that's where I'm at, you guys. But it's private dining. You can't just drive to it off the side of the road or anything like that. It's not a street. You won't see a street sign or anything like that.
Well, all I know is you had a little these chicken type things with some
Yes.
sort of sauce on them, and you had it real nice and pretty on 10 little skewers. And boy, studio audience, I got into those skewers and it
went to
wasn't
town.
nice and pretty anymore.
Oh, my God.
I think I ate the whole damn plate.
Real quick too,
Didn't
very
I?
quickly.
I mean, you noticed, you watched?
I saw it from the distance
I
as
thought-
I was plating everyone else. I said, "What is he? He just grabbed that fork and straight off the plate." I said, "Oh, okay."
But I thought what goes on in the kitchen stays in the kitchen. Oh my God! All Houston now knows that that's okay. We have another caller though, Chef. We have another caller, Sophie. Is there a Sophie?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Sophie. You have me and Chef Willie. What do you got for Chef or me?
Hi, Chef.
Hi,
I
nice to
had
meet
a
you.
question. Nice to meet you, too. Great hearing your story. I wanted to know, what's your signature dish?
Ooh,
And what do you like to cook for yourself? when you're done
For
with
yourself.
work?
Thank
When
you,
it's
thank
late
you.
at night
Right,
and
you
you're
know?
there going, what am I going to make?
No, a chef cravings.
Thank you there, Sophie.
the
That's a
absolute
great
right-
one,
No, that
Sophie.
was a great
Thank
question.
you.
Currently my specialty is seafood, and when I go into like my savory culinary hat and my pastry culinary for today, forever, it'll always be cheesecake to my heart. And you had some, by the way.
I love cheesecake.
Thank you.
Oh my
Thank you.
God. That
Thank you.
cheesecake you had, that
Yes.
wasn't like normal cheesecake or
No,
something.
it wasn't. It was completely different.
Yeah.
Usually people have like a graham cracker crust, a
Yeah.
really kind of thick.
What was your
silky-
crust? It was
I can't-
delicious.
Now that's something I cannot
Oh,
tell you,
yeah.
sir.
You can't.
What?
You can't
That's
reveal.
my moneymaker.
Oh my God! Well, all I know is it was delicious.
Thank you. So that's my specialty. My specialty is seafood and cheesecake. But as far as like what do I eat at home? My God, when a chef craving comes, it can be amazing or it can be the absolute worst. One time I had a craving for like something lemony. I made me a full lemon pound cake with the lemon meringue glaze and a side of lemon sorbet because I have my own ice cream maker at home. Just for eat like 2 bites out of it.
Yeah.
I kid you not.
Oh, my
So like
goodness.
literally our cravings are like through the roof. Like one time I had a craving for like crab. I mean like 3 giant jumbo crab cakes, something I would never make at the restaurant because it's too much crab. Those are our chef cravings. So for me, when I'm home, whatever craving hits me, I just go for it. But the thing is, we're gonna go for like huge. So we're like, there's enough to share with my neighbors. Like there's always an extra.
Well, when you say all that, first of all, it sounds delicious, right?
Yes.
But then because I'm not skilled in this sort of area, all I can think about is, oh my God, what mess is there to clean up? I mean, like you see these cooking shows on TV,
Yes.
and they act like it's nothing but a thing. There they go, pull stuff out, and then
Yes.
they are, and they got hundreds of pots of this, and it's like, wait a minute, what's the after show
Right,
here?
because on those shows, there's a crew that comes in and
I
cleans.
was gonna say,
Absolutely.
there's got to be.
Believe it or not, in my cooking class, I used to teach a part of that was cooking and cleaning as you go. So, you would cook, but you also need to clean up as you go.
Yeah,
so by the time the meal is finished, the kitchen should be clean also.
Is that right?
Yes, that's literally, that's the technique I teach in my class, but I also teach things like one-pot cooking, 15-minute meals, 30-minute meals. Some of us chefs don't even like to be in the kitchen that long, so we go in and out. And so I teach those as well.
And then those guys have a way whenever they I watch these shows because my daughter loves these shows.
Right.
Judy, if you're out there, I'm going to talk about you, honey. And so, they bring out the dessert, and it's all this dun, 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 dun. The music's all really, it's all real, it's this big crescendo. And then the guy gets a fork, or the woman gets a fork, and it's like the slowest bringing the fork to your mouth. I know with me, it's like, hey, let me go. But no, it's real slow. And then they do it, and then they just have this whole. And then they go into these words I've never heard of.
Yes.
And it's got this richness and their whole voice is different.
And they talk about the acidity level and the sweetness.
And it's so acidic. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. And they're just, it's like, oh my God, what are they saying?
And that is why I'm so happy that you're going to be a judge on this show, because I'm sending you like descriptive words to use.
Hold that thought, because we have another caller. Before we get to that caller, I will tell you one more thing. So my wife and daughter love those kids baking shows.
Yes.
And I mean, these kids, it's like, these kids are like 9 years old. And how do they know about, and you got to do this so the butter doesn't do this? I'm like, how do you know that? And it's like these kids are like the most mature grown-up 9-year-olds ever.
Yes.
And they're all like so pleasant and happy, and they're just going through cooking these amazing things.
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
No, I can't. And you know what? I have a niece. I've been training her since she was 3. And she can outcook half the people in this room, I'm sure. Sorry, ma'am. The live studio audience. Sorry, you guys. It's the truth. You start them when they're super, super young. They're in the kitchen cracking eggs and just making small things until they get fully, fully comfortable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hold that thought. We have a Jesse on the line. Is there a Jesse on the line?
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to say thank you, Gilbert, for sponsoring our trip to Uvalde with our LULAC members and a lot of Adrian Garcia's volunteers and campaign workers. We went to Uvalde. We went to the school and dropped off some flowers and then the 19 teddy bears. And then we went also to the main market area and put some more flowers, and then we gave a $2,000 check to the bank. And I want to thank you for sponsoring that trip for us with the Cito Regatta side. We really appreciate it.
Well, let's just let the viewers know. So, of course, Uvalde was the terrible, terrible massacre, and LULAC reached out to me, and they wanted to send a busload of people to pay their respects. And so I sponsored 3 of the buses and sent. How many people went, Jess?
About 27.
That is great. And let me ask you this: what was it like going, Jess?
It was, everybody, we cried and we got in a circle and prayed and it was really heavy on your heart, but you were feeling better because there was not as many police officers or there to hold people back away from the school. We could get a lot closer and lay our flowers and teddy bears around the areas there. So that was a good feeling. So it was a feeling of ease right now, but it was a lot of sorrow. And then I had a point for the chef.
Please.
Regards, first of all, do you have a diabetic menu? And
I do.
You tell people. Do you help people stay away from the great white devil?
I do. It's just called sugar. Yes, it is. One of my best friends in the entire world. Hey, Shawnee, because I know she's listening. She is diabetic as well, and she was the first person why I had to originally write a sugar-free cheesecake recipe, because she wanted it so bad. But like 2 bites in, she said, "You just running my numbers up." And so she's the reason why I had to develop the diet cheesecake. The sugar-free cheesecake. But from there on, I started to work with Dr. AJ over the Agrawal Association, and with their work, I was able to learn like the more scientific approach to these medical meals and how to genuinely make a difference, like where people's numbers are involved and things like that. But also figuring out a balanced way to cook food that was healthy, but also tasty, and also to fit your cravings as well. So that's what I've done now. And we come in for like one-on-one consultations over in my private kitchen in City Center. And then from that consultation, I bring out a few sample dishes. I figure out exactly like where you are taste-wise, what are your dietary goals, and where you're trying to get to health-wise. And then from there, I'm able to create whatever menu for however many days, weeks you need, and just kind of go from there. And we just access it from there.
That is wonderful. Jess, I appreciate that question, but Jess, I'm going to go back if you don't mind. Did you get a chance to see any of the elected officials or anything like that in Uvalde?
We did have a lunch next to see one of the former mayors there, but it's very sad, Gilbert. 85% of the population is Mexican American in Uvalde, and most of the people that run the town there are Anglo, and so that's very sad. The fact that people don't get to vote or don't go out to vote. Isidro used to run some politics and campaigns in Eagle Pass in that area, and he was telling us all about the political scene, and it's very sad that our people don't get out and vote more.
Well, we talk about this on the radio all the time, which is you got to vote. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to vote. Here's another reason you hear it from Jess talking about some of the Latino communities. It's the same here in the African-American community. We've got to vote, make our voice heard. My mom always said, if you don't vote, don't complain. So there you have it. Jess, last word, anything?
No, just thank you very much, Gilbert, for your support on everything you do, for helping the community so much. I know you're out everywhere. You have with senior citizens having lunch. You're out there helping out all the organizations. So again, I want to thank you so much for all you do in the community, and thank you for this radio show.
Thank you, Jess. You're a good man. I'm hugging you on the phone. So let's go back here, Chef. So there's a Facebook post that said, where can I get a cooking class?
Yeah, so the cooking classes right now, we're doing them two different ways. At our kitchen, but actually taking a more personal approach, and I'm coming directly to you. And if you want to get like a small group or two or more together, or one-on-one lessons as well, we can do it directly with you at your location, or you can come to us and we can make it happen as well.
Awesome. So at your place in City Center, you have a full kitchen back there?
No, it's like a build your own. You build it in for what you need.
I see.
Yes.
So let's go. We have another caller there. Is there a Miss Sarah there?
Larry King.
Is there a Miss Sarah, though? Is there a Miss Sarah?
No, Gilbert, this is Larry.
Oh, Larry. Well, Larry, you certainly don't look or sound like Sarah.
No,
but Larry, ladies and gentlemen, this is Larry Payne again, who was on our show last week. We had a great show with him. He's been an advisor and I don't know the right word, consigliere, is that what they say in the movies? To, 6 or 7 different mayors. Larry, how are you doing?
Awesome. I'm doing well. Just wanted to call in and say hello to you and your wonderful viewing, your growing listening audience. And thank you so much for last week, and thank you for being with us this past Saturday for the 2036, and for your support and encouragement of that event and that product. So I really thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. Larry, talk a little bit again to our listeners about 2036. The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, Larry will mention it, but someone's got to be thinking about where is this city going? We all go through life, but someone's got to be thinking about what are going to be the issues that maybe we see today, but what are going to be the issues in the future? And Larry was said to us, it's always think about in the year 2036, if you had to write the mayor of 2036 speech, what would he or she say? Well, in other words, someone's got to start planning these things today. And that's what Larry came up with Canberra Marshall and others, and it's just an incredible effort. Larry, why don't you talk about that and what happened Saturday?
Well, we've brought together 36 people who've been working for 6 months in groups of 4 different areas: education, environmental justice, healthcare, and the general quality of life issues, to look at how we as Houstonians think about these issues from an equity standpoint. What are the gaps in equity? What are the gaps in inequities and inequalities? Looking at the issues of poverty, how it impacts all of this. Looking at the growing demographic changes of our city of Houston. Now that we are a majority-minority city, and what does all that mean going forward? And what are some of those things we can start taking care of and getting some movement and traction on, low-hanging fruit, so that we can make some differences and have some successes going forward? So you can take some of the issues off the plate, so you don't have to be talking about the same thing
again, by 2036 of having schools that are not performing well here in Houston, the two-tiered education system, the lack of equity in the education system. What are all those issues we can start having a real plan these next 13, 14 years to 2036 to resolve it? So because you don't want to be talking about, particularly education, that we have so many schools at the lower ring of the educational process for opportunity and outcomes that are just not making the grade. It's not the school's fault. It's basically the community's fault. We don't fund them well enough. We don't give them the access to equal opportunities that they need. That's on us. What can we do? And I think as a city as great as Houston, with all the caring, philanthropy, compassion, and love we have in this city, we can make it happen. We can make a difference. But we got to know what those issues are. We have to have a process in place to address them, a mechanism in which to talk about outcomes. And so that's what we're trying to do. It is just a start. It's just a first start of the effort, but it's going to grow and develop as we go forward.
Well, I'm happy to participate. I feel honored to participate. You know, Houston has had this can-do attitude since its inception. I mean, who would have thought we'd have this incredible city in this, you know, people say in the old days, swampland or whatever it was. And then who would have thought we would have built this incredible, you know, medical center facility, the best in the world. And who would have thought, as Larry always says, we would have built this incredible port 50 miles inland. I mean, who does that?
Right.
Well, Houston does. And I think we need to have that type of spirit as we look at solving some of the issues, as we manage this incredible melting pot of people that is our home. Larry, what else do you want to tell us here?
Just briefly as I go off, it's going to take a lot of committed, dedicated, passionate people who are willing to step up, be accountable, have the commitment, have the transparency, and most and foremost to make all this happen, Gilbert, we have to start developing trust. And the way you develop that trust to get these things done are through relationships that are built, nurtured, and maintained on mutual trust and respect, because nothing happens without trust.
Amen to that. Ladies and gentlemen, you had Larry Payne on. Mr. Larry Payne, we thank you for being on the air. Larry Payne is kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi around here, you know? You know, like I feel like I'm young Luke. I mean, Luke. I'm like young Gilbert. And, you know, and Larry's like, I'm older than Larry probably, but he's like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
My God.
You know, he's that type of person.
Just glad to be with you, Gilbert, and your audience and your guests, and always looking forward to working with you on the next iteration of these projects.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for being on the show.
All right. Take care, brother.
Yes, sir. Right. We got to come back to Chef Willie because, you know, there's an old show, Carol Burnett, and they say, you know, I'm so glad we had this time together. Are you ready for this?
Right.
We're down to 5 minutes.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
Happened so
An hour
quick.
went like that. It's
It
like,
did.
where did it go?
Well, congratulations on the extra 15 minutes because we needed them.
Well, I know, because think about it. You would have said nothing.
Absolutely.
But I really want to get this in because tell us about the entire Mass Bakers show and the whole contest and what is it all about?
Absolutely. So, you know, one thing that you did mention was that in this culinary world, it could be lucrative. It can be until a major pandemic hits. Listen, you guys, my business, this started literally at the beginning of the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, me, along with a handful of other fellow bakers that I knew, we all lost our business, right? Because when you thought about it, at the time, when the pandemic relief and all of the restaurants and everybody closed down, there was a lot of restaurant relief provided, but there was not a single thing as far as relief provided to us home bakers, right? People that I don't have any employees. It's just me home making cakes at that time. And so when I lost my little business called A La Willie's before I opened up here in City Center, I didn't know what to do. And I was so confused and I was struggling, but so were all of my other friends. And so literally the first thought that came to mind was to I'll pull our money together and the winner takes the pot. That was the only smallest concept. And so I reached out to everybody in Houston. I created this cool competition where it was going to be a blind baking competition. Everyone's going to compete socially distant, come together at the very end, and do something big for the city. And literally everybody put in $100 into the pot, and we only gave $1,000 to the winner, you know. But what I didn't see coming at that first time, when I sent out invitations for that very first competition, it was right after the whole George Floyd incident as well. only responses I got back was from all black bakers or businesses of color. There wasn't a single white baker in the very first season of The Masked Baker. It was only colorless business. But that right there, it happened. I think everything happens for a reason. We understand this. God made it happen to where those 20 black businesses all came together and did something huge for that area, especially in City Center, which is a predominant like white area. You know, like literally it did so much change, right, for the city to where we did competitions like back to back to back, right? And each time it got a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. Season 1 winner was named Chef Kayla P. Season 2, we had Chef Helena. Season 3, Chef Lisa Clark. All of these ladies that were winning the competition, we were awarding them the $1,000 grand prize. And that $1,000 like did wonders for that.
That's so
it's
wonderful.
the baking community, right? So we didn't need much, but we just needed something.
Right.
Like, you know, like a few cakes. Cakes don't cost that much when you really genuinely think about it. Right. But we just needed some sort of help to get by. And so I kept doing these competitions, and then they just kept growing and growing. And so that's where we ended up where we are here today. The competition series got picked up by that Foodie TV network, but I still had to find my own funding and things like that. But we were still able to make these small little blessings. We went to a season 4, wedding competition. We did an all-star competition where we had like the people that lost come back and compete.
Oh, how great.
Yeah, so there were so many ways, and we just still kept giving out this small little grand prize, but it helped change so many lives. So now, here I am in the 5th and final season of the show because my contract with the Foodie TV is ending, and I've come up with a new way to transcend it, but I want to go out with a bang, right? And in my career here in Houston, I've met so many amazing people. I figured if we all, and by the way, to host all of these past competitions, it has taken a handful of people from Wedding Cakes by Tammy Allen's, The Corner Bakery, judges from Houston Black Restaurant Week. Like all of these people have come together to make this show like a huge success. And so what I did, well, what I'm hoping for now is for all of us to come together one more time. I have a goal of $50,000 to raise because this year, for the first time, instead of a $1,000 grand prize, we want to give a $10,000 grand prize away. We want to help inspire the next generation of bakers. We want to build a $10,000 culinary scholarship. We really want to go out with the bang. We've been talking to the most amazing people, and we really think we can make it happen this year.
Well, I'm happy to participate. I want to be there, and yours truly is going to be one of the
celebrity judges,
and I can't wait to eat the food.
I'm excited to have you on the show.
Well, I thank you. So we are now going to hear this song Beautiful by Christina Aguilera, because it just strikes me that some of our young people have so little self-esteem. And it's so important that they say, and they know to say, I am beautiful, no matter what they say. It's an incredible song. Please enjoy it with me. Words can't bring me down. I am beautiful in every single way. I think we ended. All right. So now we're off on the radio, and we're still here on Facebook. You're here with Gilbert Garcia. A Tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. I didn't get to say my favorite line. We'll see you next time, but that was for radio because I'll get to say it here on Facebook. We're with Chef Willie, and we're going to end here in just a minute or two. There is a question that somebody had.
Okay.
Which is, do you know how to make tamales, and do you have a tamale class?
You know, I do know how to make them. Haven't hosted a tamale class. Thank you for that idea. Because
you know,
that would be a big hit.
And remember, in our community, Latino community, we love tamales right around holidays.
Yes.
Especially Christmas.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, you might think about that.
No, literally, it is a great idea. Let's do it. Let's go get the masa, the lard from the Michoacana, and we're going to put it all together. Yes, that is great.
And, you know, and I've had everything from pork to beef to chicken to bean tamales.
Yes.
So there's all kinds of different ways you can do it inside. Now, when you go to California, the tamale's different.
Yes.
The tamale here is long, and there's, you know, stuff inside. In California, the tamale is very short and it's really fat.
Yes.
It almost looks like a burrito.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of stuff in there, like olives and all kinds of things that don't belong in a tamale.
It's California.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those things, they don't belong in a tamale, but they're in a tamale, all this stuff. And so I had my learning about California tamales when I went to college.
Yes.
Very quickly, I want to go back to something which is this show. It's become kind of an icon for minority-owned chefs and businesses and things.
Absolutely.
I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
If you had to look into a crystal ball, where do you think Chef Willie's going to be 5-10 years down the road?
Wow. Well, James Beard Award winner.
Hey, all
I know
right,
that for
all
a
right.
fact,
Give him
you
a
know.
round of applause.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Now that's
for sure.
the first part.
2 Michelin stars. at
Remember, the
least.
first part is give him a round of applause. The second part is, what's the James Beard Award? Well, does anybody? Is that a food award?
Right, it is. It is
I
one
don't
of the
know what that
most
is.
prestigious awards any chef can be.
Holy cow.
Can get in the food industry. It's super rarely given out to private chefs, but I want to be one of the ones to receive that. You know, what we mentioned earlier was when I was in culinary school, I wanted to be black by buffet because there wasn't no inspiration for me. I love that here I am 12 years later, and it has been such a shift in the culinary world because now us new generation of chefs are coming in, and we get to be those people that the smaller chefs get to look up. You know, Chef Nina Compton, Chef Tiffany Derry, Chef Kwame, Chef Eddie Jackson, Chef Sonny Anderson. Like all of these African American chefs have entered the fold, and now these new chefs get to be inspired. And then with a show like The Masked Baker, us trying to put together this culinary scholarship, those younger bakers who didn't know that they could go to school or didn't have that hope or that dream, like now they have something to look forward to, you know? Or in my case, being one of those underprivileged students that had to figure it out from lack of education or lack of just finances, you know, being one of those students that had to struggle, get it out the mud is what we call it where I'm from, honestly. That's literally what I had to do to transition to where I am now. And if I would have, I talk about it with Chef Tammy Allen all the time. If we had someone in our baking industry that we could reference to, talk to, look up to, we could make a difference in the city. She wouldn't be the only black-owned wedding cake artist in the entire city, you know? Like, let's open up a second one, you know? And so hopefully this Masked Baker competition, the 5th and final season, we start awarding out these grants and scholarships that there can be more.
So when is it? Let the public know. When is it going to be? And how can they watch it or see it or whatever?
So first off, everybody who wants to support, donate, become a sponsor of the Masked Baker, please reach out to me directly with my number, which
281-455-7891.
Yes. Also send me an email. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect plug. Also, you can directly reach me email at alawillies@gmail.com. Really easy, simple. ALA Willies. And so if you want to be a sponsor donator, because what we're doing is we want to have it ready for this summertime. Like we always competed in the summer, and like I said, $1,000. It was easy, and it was great to help those bakers pay that immediate bill that was due or that immediate help that they just needed. But $10,000 will really help open their next chapter in their baking career, open up a storefront, you know, really help them take their career to the next level.
I think that's awesome. The other thing that's awesome, I can't help it, maybe it's because I've got Maverick on the brain, but you know, when you say someone, you know, I'm Chef Willie, that sounds like such a cool name, Chef Willie. And all those other chefs you mentioned, it's kind of like Goose, Hangman, Maverick, and all those guys. Remember, you know, what's their fighter pilot name?
Right.
Y'all got these cool, you know, cooking names.
You know, it was given to us at birth.
There you go.
But in all honesty, no, we just kind of take what we were given and rolling with it, and I think that's what I've been blessed to do today.
Well, amen for that. We are wrapping up. This is the take. I am Gilbert Garcia. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. This was our first 1-hour episode with Chef Willie, so we're so grateful for his patience to be here. And again, we are 11 to 12 every Monday on KWWJ, Keep Walking with Jesus, and KYOK. And so at the end of the day, we will see you next time.
Yes.
This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. Join me for my new radio show, A Tip from Gilbert. Talk inspiration and prayer every Monday from 11 to 11:45 a.m. on KWWJ 1360 a.m., 96.9 FM, or KYOK 1140 a.m. Call me 832-570-8075. See you then.